Hey there, zombie hunters. Jaxel here. Welcome back to another episode of 7 Days That A19 Excitus Xtreme mod. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this video, smack the taste out of that like button for me, why don't you? And kick the balls right off that notification bell. Alright, folks, let's just get into it here. How you doing there, Samantha Jane?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just trying to cook us some food here.
How you doing there, Dr. Dangerface?
Good, buddy.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I did take a little break from playing a lot of games for the last couple weeks here. I just took a little time for myself. Kind of needed to do it.
Sometimes you gotta do it.
Yeah. Shadows, how you doing, darling? Welcome to the live stream. John Nickel, welcome, my friend.
Hey, Shadows and John.
All right. So not much has transpired since we played last. We did play a little bit the one day off camera together. But we got 2 days till the Horde. Probably end up running that tomorrow by the look of things. But I need to eat and go to the bathroom. And I think once I do that, everything will be fine. Cooked food is in this one. This one, right there. Ooh. I'll eat whatever that is. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to eat it. Bathroom. We got a friend outside. You got that there, Sean?
I don't hear anything.
I hear it. It's up closer to this end, maybe.
Alright. I'm going to drop off all the items that I'm packing here that I don't need right now. Okay, you guys go do that then. Daddy's doing a stream. Alright. Oh yeah, I was going to put on the new armor I made. Although we did find out that the armor, compared to the first set we get, for some reason the durabilities are way off. EA Star, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the live stream.
Hey, EA.
So let's throw on the gear, and I gotta remember when the gear disappears, so do the mods. Okie dokie then. So grab that. That. And one of those, sure. Another one. Can't do nothing.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mods. Is there a helmet light mod in here somewhere? Nope. Doesn't matter. I don't think I really need one. I think the only thing I'm going to modify will be the boots. Oh no, this one has more slots. Weird. Go. And put this on there. We'll call that good enough. Brant Northman, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Brant.
Alrighty. Okay, I'm gonna leave my armor on me. What does that repair with? Okay, I'm gonna repair my other armor. Why? Oh, I'm not wearing the legs. That's why. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Alright. Now, I'm gonna do I think I'm gonna do a quick run to the store. See what we got for tools here. Probably don't need the chainsaw. My axe is good enough. Alright. Yeah. Well, let's see where we're at here. Yeah, I'm gonna run up to the trader real quick.
Okie doke.
I'm not sure what day they reset at, so I'll find. Oh, this is where you put the trees. That's right. Our little orchard.
Yeah.
Oh, they just disappeared.
Cool.
Nope, there they are again. Okay, weird. Day 34 that he restocks. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh, my apologies. Check back again, and I may have what you're looking
Holy moly.
What?
I made this food. It's called Spree Walled Gherkin. And it gives you 74 food, 47 health, 15 water.
That sounds pretty damn good.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What do you need to make it?
for. Gratitude and safe travels, friend.
I was only able to make 2 because I didn't have enough ingredients. Hang on just 1 second and I'll tell you.
Y'all come back now.
I think it's grain alcohol. I don't have enough grain. I need grain alcohol.
Ah, okay. That means we'll need to find more corn. Fish tailing through the forest. Fish tailing through the forest. And running into trees. Because I'm reading chat. What? I will look at it after dinner, okay? Yeah, it was report card day.
Ooh.
Thank you.
You haven't looked at it yet?
No, I didn't look at the twins as yet.
What do they usually look like?
They're
At
usually
age?
doing pretty good.
Does how does it work? Like the teacher just like puts a comment in there or something? That's
Yeah,
relevant
it's
to it, or do they do
comments, and then because
A's
of
and B's and stuff.
no
already?
no A's and
Yeah.
B's. It's all, are they not meeting? Are they
Oh, I see.
meeting? Are they exceeding? Sort of mentality instead of the traditional A, B, C, D. They don't start doing
Yeah.
that until later on in grades. So it'll be a little bit before that starts happening again. Or not again. 'Cause even Skyla, she's in grade 3 and she's still on. They're not, they don't give grades.
No grades just
Cha-ching!
yet, eh?
Thanks,
No.
buddy.
It's all waiting. Yeah. Are they exceeding? Or are they not? For the most part, they really focus on trying to make sure kids they don't get
attention and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, they're just trying to get them ready to go. It's not like it's that they're too, I shouldn't say worried was not the right word. They're not focused on putting grades on things. It's easy. I think they find it better to not put that pressure. Like, hey, you didn't get an A. Okay, I will look at it after dinner. Okay, thank you. Aid, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the live stream, my friend.
Hey, Aid. How's it going?
water. No. Okay. I just sunk my car. Hey, you've been with me when I've sunk my car before, Sean.
Yeah. It was, happened quickly.
Oh,
That must have been in real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a place where I live. It's there's like this mountain that's like in the middle of the valley, and it's right beside the main river where we live. And on the back during the high season, some of the roads get a little bit of water on them.
Well, we had it particularly wet. Like there was flooding. All the fields were flooding and everything like that. So like it's farmland and all that sort of stuff, right? So you got a road. It's kind of a little bit higher than all the fields, and then there's barbed wire fences, and and then there's the field. Well, the fields are full with water. They're like lakes. They've got like 2 or 3 feet of water on them. And then on top of that, the water kind of has creeped now onto the road a little bit. So there's this little strip of asphalt in the middle of this big lake, and we wanted to go check it out.
So we were driving along, and everything was fine, and
everything was fine.
It was fine. I was taking it nice and easy. We weren't going crazy, but half of the road that we were on, our side, was underwater, like a good 6-8 inches underwater, and they had these cones up and signs to let you know that you couldn't drive there. So I was in the oncoming lane, or trying to go in the oncoming lane to go around this puddle, and there was traffic, 3 cars coming up the road towards us, and they didn't stop. They just kept going. So I slowly pulling over to the right to try and get through, and the car just lifted, and it was like instant float. And next thing I know, we're going right, and we're going right. It was slow motion, and into the ditch we go, and the car was sunk. And I think your window was down, wasn't it, Sean? And you were rolling it up.
I can't remember if I think so. Yeah.
You're rolling it up.
Well, I guess I'm rolling this up, and there's just water pouring into my side, and we're on like a 45-degree angle where I'm down about 2 feet lower than you are on your side.
Yeah.
And there's just water pouring in, and it's like,
And it's not warm water; it's ice freaking cold.
Yeah.
And and so I'm hopping out the driver's side. Sean's hopping out the driver's side to get out, and there's my car stuck. And everyone just drove by to get on the phone.
It's weird how time changes things, because I remember that story totally different.
What's your version, Sean?
100% different story.
So
So
Tell
in an
us
alternate
yours.
universe, I'm not saying my memory is better than yours, but it definitely is different. So my version of the story, we're like, let's go check this out. So we go down there. There are no cars around whatsoever. We're the only ones out there. And Jaxel's driving along, and he's like, oh, look at this water on the side of the road. Let me touch it with my right tire. So he drives over, touches it. Ooh, big splash. You're like, hey, that's fun. So he's driving a little more, and he's like, hey, there's splash again. So he touches it again, and big splash of water, and he's like, woo! And in my head, I'm saying, you got to be careful, all this stuff, and this is how I remember it. And so then we get to a certain spot, and you do it. You're like, oh, I'm gonna make an even bigger splash, and you go over to the right, you touch your tire, but then the water, because we're moving, it just turns the whole car, because there's friction on one tire and not on the other. It turns the whole car, and it just drags the whole car right into the ditch. And then we're sunk. There's no cars, there's no cones in my version.
No, there were cones. There was those stupid
It
little.
wasn't an evasive maneuver. You were being a shithead trying to spray water.
I don't remember it that way. There were cars.
You're the good citizen just trying to avoid cars coming.
No, I know I was driving like a shithead that day. I know I was driving like a shithead. But in that moment, that puddle, there were cars coming, and no one was letting us through, and I had to go back into that puddle.
No.
I remember it differently
If
than you.
Which one do you guys believe in? Which one's more believable? What would you believe?
I'd take the fifth on that.
Oh, now here we go. Here we go. Anyway, long
More
story
likely.
short,
Jaxel accidentally goes into a puddle, which he's already done on stream, by the way. I'd just like to note that. Directly into a puddle. No cars around, no cones. Or he was avoiding oncoming traffic.
I was avoiding oncoming traffic, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wasn't your fault.
No choice. Anyway, that car didn't run right ever since that day.
Well, the computer's got.
I fried the fucking computer in it, yeah.
Because it was under the.
Well,
the car didn't go all the way under the water. It just I think it was up by the mirror on my side.
Yeah.
And then your side was pretty much dry.
Pretty much, it was right at the console, from the console to the window, bottom of the window, on the passenger side door. So,
yeah, so the whole passenger side seat was underwater, right?
My wife's leather coat was on the floor underneath Sean's feet.
No.
She was not very impressed that I ruined her coat. And worse off, when I got the car back to the house finally, the car ran like shit all the way home. And then as I'm sitting there, I totally pulled the car, all the mats out, started drying it out, going to try and start it up. It runs like crap. Oh, I'm hitting a wall. Wow. Pull it up. Pull the space heater into the car. Tried drying it out for a couple of days. Got the windows left open a crack to help minimize the steam buildup and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out why the car won't run right. Like, the car's pretty much dried out, but I keep getting a puddle on the passenger side. So I ended up I pulled the console by the feet down where the computer was, and the computer was wrapped in a plastic bag.
Oh no.
And the plastic bag was full of water, so the computer, every time I was running it, was like running in like a bag full of water. So yeah, I ended up, I finally got it dried out, but like my headlights and stuff never, the dash lights would always would get real bright and then go dim and then go real bright and go dim, and it was like, it never fixed. So yeah, it's just a, nice little mistake.
Normal day.
Just a normal day with me driving. It was fine.
I do remember the moment that it happened. Like I wasn't scared. I wasn't shocked or angry. Like, my emotions were very just dead. Like, we hit the bottle, we were in. I'm like, oh, water. I rolled it up, and I was just like, oh, I guess we're in a puddle now.
And I remember too the tow truck driver, when I finally got him to come.
Well, I knew somebody at the truck stop that I worked at.
Well, he put. Do you remember when he put the truck up on the? He pulled the car out, and he's got it up on the thing, and he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, that'll be." He goes, "Where you want me to take it?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, where I told him where we lived," and he's like, "Okay, well, that's going to be X amount of dollars," and he's like, "Will that be cash or credit?" And I'm like, "Well, I got no cash on me." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I put it down then." I'm like, "I got money in the bank, man." He's like, "I don't normally take people to a bank machine." Like, well, I need to go to the bank machine and I can get you your money. He was nice enough to let us go to the gas station. And you said you knew somebody there. Didn't they let us use to get the vacuums for free or something?
I don't remember. I seem to remember there being something weird about the driver, and I don't remember. There's something about the truck stop that I remember.
I remember you had to wait in the truck while I went to the bank machine. I remember that much. I know he didn't really want to go though. He
wasn't really he wasn't like a was he like a real truck tow truck driver?
Yeah, it
he
was.
some-
No, he was a real tow truck driver. I just can't remember which company it was from. But he wasn't too keen on not being paid right off the bat.
Well, he took one look at us.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Come-
have the money? Yeah, I
Like
do.
I probably have $0 to my name at that moment. We're two people in a like
No deals
in a
done.
ditch.
Yeah. How did you end up in the ditch?
Yeah, maybe that's where you got your story from.
Maybe.
Rehearsing it for the tow truck driver.
Yeah.
Oncoming cars, I had no choice.
Maybe that is, that could be because maybe for insurance purposes, I was trying to make sure I have my story in the right way.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because the part of it that I remember is in my head thinking like once we're there and we're getting out, just thinking like, well, that was unnecessary. Like, like it wasn't an accident. Like it almost you kind of just drove into the water. Like, not all the way in on purpose, but
You sure?
you never
Hey,
know. With
Sam.
It's hard to tell.
Sam, you're supposed to be on my side here.
I'm always on your side. What are
Does
you
not
talking
sound
about?
like it right at this moment. I'm telling you. I tell you, folks. What am I gonna do with Sam here?
You better just keep me around.
I'm gonna have to, I guess. Gotta be nice to Sam. She might get mad and yell at me here.
But it's funny because Aid says, I hope you got some salmon in the truck for your trouble.
No. Might have got a
That
carp or
would've been
two.
nice.
You had the ECU of the car in a fish tank with no fish. PMSL.
Just to myself laughing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But when Jaxel said to Sean, put the sail up, and we're in a car, Jaxel.
Put the sail up. Yeah, if you're going for a ride with me, you better bring your life jacket.
Yeah, the next time you ask me if I want to go for a drive, I'm in the.
Sean comes out
seat
wearing
a life
flippers and
jacket.
scuba gear. Got my air tank and my goggles. I'll be fine. Oh, yeah, no, that was.
And we weren't doing anything on like we were just out there driving around. We weren't had no particular.
Yeah, we were just going to see the
Purpose.
overflow of the rivers because we heard it was flooding. Wanted to see. Yeah. Note to self. Jaxel says, "Hey, let's go check out the flooded area. Don't go."
Maybe ask if you can drive.
Yeah.
Were you old enough to drive at that time?
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah.
Where'd you
think I
put the
would've been
toilet
18.
paper?
I ate it.
In my inventory. Sorry, I didn't.
Sean.
Forgot. It was crafting while I was coming back.
Well, this is that trader that's in the kiosk. Isn't it? Yes. Ah, like a drive-through. Can I get a extra large coffee, please? Double.
Ooh, you got a dog horde coming through here, Sam. Looks like they drove right by though.
Okay. Well, I put food in the.
I wouldn't mind getting the rotten flesh off them. Actually, I think I'm gonna grab 'em.
Okay.
We could definitely
I'm
use it.
cooking some rolls.
Great doing business.
So, whoa,
Back and take
don't,
your-
whatever you do, don't eat my rolls. I need them for something else. Sean, you better back up. They're coming for you. I see them.
Hey, Joseph Garner, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the live stream.
Hello, Joseph Garner.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that car that I've sunk wasn't an expensive car, that's for sure. Wasn't worth very much after I sunk it. It was worth even less. Here's the worst part. I ran it.
I need the meat off of this, Sam, so I'm going to use my knife on it rather than the axe.
All right, love. Okay, I'm sorry.
I overheated it a couple of times, and I had trouble with my water pump, so I lost all my coolant. So when I lost all the coolant, was I already at this one? I think I was. When I lost all my coolant, I just refilled it back with water. And I never thought to refill it with got that weird music. I never put antifreeze back in it. And then I didn't think anything of it. I thought everything would be fine.
Sean, there's another one over here.
Yeah.
And that winter, I accidentally
Froze it up?
Oh, and then some. I got out to go to the work the one day, and I go to start it up, and it wouldn't start, and it wouldn't turn over. It turned over, but it wouldn't stay started, and I was like, what the hell? And I called my uncle over, and he looks at me, and he's like, have you checked the fluids? And I'm like, no, not recently. And he's like, oh, pop the hood. Pop the hood, pulls the dipstick out, and he's like, oh, you got a problem. I said, what's that? And he's like, you cracked your block. I'm like, how do you know? And he's like, well, when your water looks like brown chocolate, when it looks like chocolate milk, that means the oil's got into the water. He goes, you're done.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so, eh? So yeah, that was the end of that car. I got $150 for it.
Oh my gosh.
Because I cracked it. It was garbage. It went to the scrapper. That was the end of it. Of course, that wasn't the first and only car that I've killed, but
Maintenance wasn't really your forte.
You know what? I always bought cars that I didn't care if I maintained or not. That was my way of dealing with maintenance.
Yeah.
I had a little tiny what was it called? It was a little Toyota. Just a tiny little four-seater little piece of crap Toyota that I used as a work car. And I had an oil issue with it. And it burned a lot of oil. And I was putting in, every time I filled up, I'd have to put in a liter of oil. And, well, I filled up the one day and forgot to put the liter of oil in. And, yeah, I was about 20 minutes from home on the highway when the engine seized. And I got about $150 back for that car. But I only paid $200 for it, so I figure I got my money's worth.
Yeah, but that is so sad.
Why? I got my money's worth. And I had not killed it. I would have put the oil in it. It would have probably ran for, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Who knows? It was a $200 car. I wasn't worried about it.
Wow, 8 said he could build it.
We
Did
need
I
a lot more
ever
jars
take
here,
you
Sam.
for my
Excuse
drive
me,
in the
Jackson.
Honda?
What, Sean?
We need a
What?
lot more jars here.
How many jars you need, hon?
I'm gonna make some. But we need, just letting you know that for cooking and for all the farm stuff, we need a lot
Jars?
of jars. Yeah.
Okay. There's some made already. Did you check the...
I'm not talking like 20. I'm talking like 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you making them?
I'm gonna just make them in this big.
The big
Oh.
Ford should have sand in it still.
Okay. Sorry, Jack. So go ahead with your story. I just didn't hear
No, it's
what
okay.
he's...
My Honda Civic. Did I ever take you 4x4ing with my Honda Civic, Sean?
I don't know if I actually ever went, but I think I do kind of remember that it was a you were having a lot of fun doing that.
Well,
at the time.
I named it the Bondo buggy for a reason.
Oh, it was full of Bondo, huh?
Well, when I got it for $125 off this guy. It was just sitting in his front yard, and I asked if he wanted to sell it, and he's like, "Yeah, $100, $125." Well, he wanted 150 for it, and I knocked 25 off because I'm such a good salesman at 18 years old. And I got it home. Mom and Dad were pissed because now they had this hunk of shit rusted out Honda Civic in the driveway, and the sunroof leaked. So I ended up using chicken wire and fiberglass and rebuilt the sunroof opening to give it some stability, a little bit of stability to hold the sunroof in place. It still leaked like a motherfucker because I didn't do it properly. I was too much of a rush to get the car running. And then I used to take it like Baja bugging. Like I'd take it mudding. Like I went and I bought I found in a scrap car that was supposed to be, it was free in someone's yard. There was a set of 4 tires, and they were like snow tires in the back. So I put snow tires on my Honda and drove snow tires as mudders for the rest of its life. I jumped it. I took it mud bogging in places that you wouldn't like. I remember driving down one of these gravel roads, and there was a guy in a truck. He was pissed when I went by him. There was a guy stuck in this puddle, and he was out with his winch line to another guy at another truck, and a bunch of people. As I come up, and I backed up down the road, and I got flying. I was doing like, I don't know, 70 or 80 clicks, and that's kilometers per hour. And I hit the puddle and I just skipped across it. And people are yelling on the side of the road, probably because they didn't want me to hit anybody. But I was just young and reckless. And I flew through the puddle, flew past them. I went hill climbing in that thing. Oh God. I scared the shit out of so many people taking that thing where it should not have gone. I buried it. I buried it at the river. I sunk the motor right up to the motor mounts and gravel on it. Oh man, I fucked it up royally. But it only cost me $100, so I didn't care. It was just my after high school my beater car, just for having fun in. Yeah, it was a good car. And then I remember I was.
So that factors into the one of the reasons parents didn't like it in the driveway, because it was probably covered in mud all the time.
Oh, it was just an eyesore. I already know it was.
Yeah.
But then I remember that year was the year you and Mom and Dad and Warren went to Disneyland without me because I didn't want to go. They told me I had to go, and then I just didn't pack anything. And then in the morning when it was time to go, I wasn't there. They were pissed. And they had no food in the house. And I remember getting up a couple days after you guys left. And that car, I had run it out of oil more than once. And
Another scenario where you ran a car out of oil.
Oh yeah, this thing, it went through. It ate oil. Like I used to have to put in. I used to put in 15 weight oil into it, just to keep oil in it, because it would burn through 5 weight and no problem. Like it would just gulp it down. I'd burn oil so bad, especially, and it was so loud too because of me jumping it all the time. I'd flattened the exhaust off of the manifold, so it was super loud too, and it backfired all the time.
She screamed.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm here. I stopped. I saw her. So, anyway, it was a really stupid loud car, and it was it burned oil like crazy. And I remember when you guys left, because the van that you guys went to Disneyland in used to burn a lot of oil too. So Dad always had a case of oil in the garage for our vehicles. Mostly the van, not my vehicle. I shouldn't say my vehicle because it wasn't for my vehicle. But I remember I got up in the morning. I was supposed to take my girlfriend and her brother to the lake. And I got in, threw the key in the ignition, turned it over, and it just went click, click. And I'm like, what's going on with my car? So I start doing the, troubleshooting, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. Pull the dipstick out, it's bone dry. I went into the garage, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I gotta. So I go in, and there's the case of oil. The shelf is empty. I'm like, okay, Dad took the oil. Fuck. And I had no money. I was broke until payday. And I remember looking around, and Dad had, when he would always, when he did an oil change on the van, he would always put it back in 4-liter containers on the shelf for recycling.
The old oil.
The old grossest, so there was 2 liters of that on the shelf, or 2 4-liters on the shelf. And I only needed 4 liters to fill the vehicle. So I was like, well, let's give it a shot. So I topped it all off with, there were chunks in the oil. I just poured it in, got in, fired up like a dream. Well, I shouldn't say that. It didn't fire.
Fired up like a dream. Actually, it ran for 10 minutes and then the whole thing
didn't fire up like a dream. I forgot an initial part. It still wouldn't start, but it actually turned over. But I guess I'd left my lights on when I came home that day or that night, and I'd killed the battery. So I had to pull. I drove around with a battery in the back seat, or in the hatchback with my jumper cables, and would jump it off of the battery, Dad's spare battery, until I killed it.
Yeah, and you wonder why he was always pissed off at you. Why was he always so pissed off at me for it? Yeah.
Well,
just causing as much havoc as possible
when
the parents are gone. Yeah.
Well, when we took Dad, I remember when do you remember when Amber and I went on that the tubing trip?
Well, didn't everybody get lost, and wasn't there a huge rescue mission and
There were
everything?
there was supposed to be, yeah, but they called search and rescue off once we got to a phone. They didn't actually. They were on the helipad. I only found out how close they were to sending out search and rescue because one of the guys from work was on search and rescue, and he came up to me and he fucking pushed me, and he was like, "You're a fucking idiot." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I was getting in the helicopter when we got the phone call to say, 'Don't worry about it, we found you.'" But Dad was mad that day because I took his brand new climbing rope that he bought. I was looking for a rope in the garage because we were going tubing. We needed a rope. So I grabbed this rope. I'm like, yeah, this looks like a good rope. And yeah, it was a good rope. It was brand new. He came home and he's like, what? He goes, when I got in the van that night after that fucking 12-hour ordeal of being on the river and some people almost drowning and hypothermia setting in and just the debacle. I've told this story online before. The debacle of people leaving keys in the vehicle up the fucking gravel road and no way to get to the vehicles, and everyone complaining they were cold but no one wanting to get fucking firewood. So me and Amber went and dug fucking firewood out of the fucking bush to stay warm and then get a fire started. I remember the guy we were with, he was mad because I said, we need a way to start a fire. And he's like, well, there's nothing in my car. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I hopped up on the roof and ripped open his sunroof.
Good God.
And then climbed in and got the fucking, emptied his glove box out onto his seat as he's yelling at me for breaking into his car. And in the back of his glove box, I pulled out a Ziploc bag with 3 emergency candles in it and a box of wooden matches. And I went, what's this? And he's like, oh, my mom must have put it in there for emergency. Yeah.
And you're like, mine.
Yeah, thanks. I'm lighting a fire.
You just go through everyone's vehicles, go
Well-
to your dad's garage. You're like, this is mine.
It
This
was
is mine now.
no, at that moment it was either it was hypothermia
This is mine.
or we need a fire, and I made a fire. We needed a fire, and I got us a fire. Yeah, yeah. That was the probably the closest I ever came to dying. Was on that trip.
Yeah, I remember it being quite a thing.
Fiasco?
Well, because
Yeah, there was just like everybody was.
It was-
It was a pretty serious.
we
thing
were
that was happening.
we were on a river that people would normally go to go tubing, but the section that people would go tubing on it was at the main road, and you would tube down the river. Like, it's a really wide, calm stretch, and you could tube for like a good, 500 meters, 600 meters, and then you'd get out and walk back up and tube back down. Well, no one wanted to do that. This guy that told us about this area to go, he was looking at logging road maps and found where there was another bridge further up the canyon, and I mean canyon. We didn't realize what we were getting into until we got into it. The first bit was great. We got in. It was all wide, like down at the bottom, really
A
slow
little
moving.
side note too, though. This is an area in British Columbia and Canada here where like multiple people die a year
Yeah,
on this river. Like
it's nothing to be trifled with. And
Yeah.
I just went in assuming, okay, it's going to be like how this river is like this all the way down, but it narrows and goes into like before we realized we were down into this, we were heading into the canyon, and the walls just went up beside us, and they were sheer cliff. Like, there's no climbing out. You're in the water, you're going down, and like it was.
There's no stopping
There's-
or going back or anything.
Well, there's no going back. There was lots of stopping. Like, we stopped hundreds of times to like walk up around the corner to see if it was safe to go around the next bend in the river, because in the canyon you could hear the sound of waterfalls echoing off the canyon walls, so we never knew. It was getting louder and louder and louder as we kept going, but we never knew when we were coming up to a waterfall. And some of the waterfalls that we found were good 20-30 foot drops, but there was no getting out of the canyon. Like, we were climbing down boulders to get to lower areas that were the size of like small vans and buses. Like, these were huge like outcrops of rocks with like the river coming through,
Yeah.
and you go around the
people
corner.
Nobody's tubing.
No,
this.
you're not even. People aren't even kayaking this shit.
Yeah. There's
Like,
nobody there. You guys are the only ones there because it's like.
Well, here's the thing.
super sketchy.
we started tubing at around just before noon, and when we got to the 5 kilometer, like where we only had 2.5 miles left, the 5K left is where the fishermen could walk up to. And there was a guy fishing on this rock outcrop, and he saw us come down. He yelled down at us. He's like, "Where did you guys get in?" And we're like, "At the logging bridge." And he's like, "What? How many are you?" So we gave the name, like the number. Like, I think there was 7 of us. And he's like, "Okay, I'll make sure that I keep track for all of you guys." Like, we left one kid behind. He said, "I'll wait for search and rescue." He just sat down on the riverbed. He wasn't coming down. He said, "Forget it. I've had enough." So we had left him about 100 meters, 300 meters probably back from the fishermen. And then he finally came down too. He finally got his gumption up and got back in the river and figured, fuck it, I'll just get out of this place. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It was, and then to add insult to injury, all the keys for all the vehicles, nobody wanted to bring their keys. If I had known this, I would have just tied a set of keys around my waist. Like, we wouldn't have lost the keys. I would have tied them on. But no one wanted to bring keys, so everyone left their keys back up at the truck at the top. So when we got back to our vehicles, we had no way to get back to the other vehicle with all the keys in it. So we're stranded. And then Amber and the guy who set the trip up hopped in. They went down the road to try and find a payphone, and they found a lady who lived in a school bus, who said that they would take them to the phone booth, but then decided she was going to go visit her boyfriend first, and drove
you're
off
kidding
into the
me.
bushes with them in this school bus, and didn't get them to the payphone until like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And then when Amber got to the phone to phone my parents, it was a payphone. So she had to do a collect call to the house and try and talk over the person that's saying, this is so-and-so making a collect call. Would you like to accept the charges? She was yelling, "It's Amber. We're stuck at the Chehalis campground." Like, over top of this recording. And thankfully my parents were able to get the message that we were stuck. And then they got brought back up by Rob's wife. And my parents rolled in shortly after, and they came in with hot chocolate and food for everybody and warm blankets. And, "Are you guys okay? You guys are stupid." "Yeah, we know we're stupid. Yeah, we learned our lesson." Dad was like, and I noticed she took my rope, my brand new rope. And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you need it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, it saved our lives on more than one occasion." Because it did. We had to use it to do portages across, like, places where we couldn't tube. We had to, like, use a rope. One guy would swim across, hold the rope around a tree or a rock or whatever to make a tight line to get across for the weaker swimmers to get across to the other side so we could get down to the next piece. And he's like, "Well, at least it," he goes, "I was mad at first when I realized you took my new rope." He goes, "But I'm glad you had it." So he let it go. He was mad up front. I don't blame him. But then when he realized it was actually something that was worth it, then
Well, you guys were always battling about everything.
oh, fuck.
You'd be like, "I want to do this," and you'd be like, you can't do that. And I'm like, "I'm gonna do that," and then that just sums up your relationship. That's it.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like, "Don't take my rope." So then it's like, "I'm gonna take your rope."
well, he never said that. I just found
Well,
it, and then it was.
I'm sure he said, "Don't take anything out of the garage, please," or I'm sure there was some understanding that you weren't just going into the garage and taking what.
It was usually more around tools, because I would always take
Yeah.
tools and then not put them back properly, and then he'd be pissed because he couldn't find his flathead screwdriver or his wrench or whatever. And I could understand that now because I'm an adult and my kid lost $500 worth of my tools, so I get it. But at that time, did I understand it? No.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, and he could have kind of taken a different approach on the whole thing too, right?
well, it was
It's easy to look back.
well,
It's
even.
easy to look back.
We can laugh. We laugh about it now. Like, I remember talking to Dad about it afterward. But that time when Mom walked into the room, and I was having sex with my girlfriend.
Oh, good Lord. You're
and,
kidding.
No. This was a huge night.
Oh, no.
It was a big night. They were tired of hearing me having sex with my girlfriend.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
So
Lord.
Mom came and opened the door and looked at me and said, "It's time for your girlfriend to go home." And I had the audacity to look at my mom and say, "But I'm not done yet."
Ah!
And she flicked the light on. She said, "Oh, you're done."
Oh, my God.
And
Yeah, like you were constantly picking fights.
Oh, I know I was. So I was picking fights, and yeah. So I said that to Mom. She then turned the light on and said, "Get up and get dressed." I said, "Well, okay, give me a minute. Close the door." She said, "No," and she stood right there and made me get dressed and hand the clothes to my girlfriend so she could get dressed and send her out the door. And then they pulled me upstairs to talk to me about it. And I remember sitting there and I was arguing about it. And the one thing my dad hated was when we were having an argument, if we tried to walk away. And I tried to walk away. And that pissed him off because you don't walk away when you're having a discussion with somebody in your family, even if it is a heated yelling argument, which it was. And he backed me up to stop me from leaving the kitchen, and we had a glass pane in the back door. And I went through it. And it cut my shoulder up.
Oh, good grief.
And because I was being the prick that I was, it wasn't, my dad didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
It was an accident, but I mean, as far as I understand, he pushed you. It was a pretty aggressive, angry.
He was in an angry moment.
It wasn't 100%. Yeah, everybody had their.
We were all heated, and I was like, and then of course, then I went through and I'm bleeding everywhere, and my arm was red instantly, and then I went into like my mental headspace that I shouldn't have went into, but I was mad and angry, and I was yelling and swearing, and Mom was trying to hold me down and put bandages on me to get me to the hospital. And all I can remember is when they were stitching me up in the hospital, Dad looked at the doctor, and the doctor said, "What happened?" And he said, "I put him through a window." And the doctor looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, you probably deserved it." I went, "Okay." And that, of course, I was already in a mood, so that didn't, as a 18-year-old, that didn't go over well in my mind. And I remember they were stitching me up, and he put on a pad on my shoulder with a bunch of numbing agents in it, and the one side of one of the cuts wasn't frozen. So as he was putting it through, I couldn't feel it on the one side, but as he went through the other, I could feel it. And I'm like, "Ow!" And he's like, "Oh, shut up. You probably just want more drugs."
Oh my gosh. Not a very nice doctor.
Oh, no, I remembered his name, and he had to see me one other time in the hospital, and I looked at the nurse and I said, "Not him." And she kind of looked at me, and I was like, "No, I had a bad experience with him. I do not want him to be my doctor. I'll wait for somebody who's more qualified." Because I thought his bedside manner was atrocious. Like, to say anything that he had said that night, he didn't need to say what he said. It was none of his damn business what happened between me and my father. That was between me and my father, not him. But, so whatever. It was what it was. But I caused a lot of grief for my parents when I was in my teenage years. I was not the easiest kid to get along with.
No.
I don't know what
No
to
comment.
say.
Sean, you're allowed to say I wasn't the easiest kid to get along with. I know
you're
it wasn't.
always fighting everything. You're always, whatever was up, you were against it.
Yep.
And
I was
angry about it.
I was a very angry kid growing up. I know this. No excuse for how I behaved, other than the fact that I wasn't a very happy kid. I was miserable for whatever reasons there were to be miserable. I found many reasons to be miserable. And I'm not going to deny it.
Well, miserable and angry. Yeah. And fighting everything.
Yeah. Well, I fought a lot
Like,
of...
if somebody said something, you'd be like, be home at 11, or what time are you going to be home? That was one that I kind of...
the be home...
What time are you going to be home? Just tell me when you're going to be home.
I'll be home,
at 11.
I would always...
You're home then you come home at 1.
No. I would... No,
Sorry, Sam.
I pushed. When they'd say be home by, because on school nights it was be home by 10. I would come home at 5 after. or 10 after. And I remember the one they got sick of it, and I decided that I was gonna start staying out all night when I got my car. And Dad locked me out of the house with a bunch of butter knives through the door frame, so I couldn't get into the house.
Yeah, you can unlock the door and turn the handle, but there was butter knives through the.
So as soon as I
trim of the
went to
door.
open the door, I heard a butter knife fall to the ground, clink clink, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay. So I'm not getting in. I remember I slept in we had a little old sauna, like a disrepaired sauna room, and that Dad had dismantled because we didn't use it and it had gone funky. And I rolled myself up in a canvas tent to try and stay warm for the night while I slept in the storage room. And I remember it was like, I heard Dad get up and leave, or no. I kept getting up to go see if the kitchen light was on. I remember doing that. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but I remember I looked up and Dad had gone to work or whatever, and I was still outside and it was still locked.
Oh, I do.
And I looked up and I'm like, and I pointed at you and I went, come lock the door. And you looked at me and went, no. And I'm like, you little fucker, get down here and open this door now. And you're like, no. I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
I think Dad had
Doing
told you
what I was
not to let
told.
me in. Yeah, don't let him in. So I stayed out there all morning. See, when
Yeah,
that,
what do you want me to do?
that's the shit that I can see. You know, at the
Yeah,
time
didn't
I was
go well for you.
angry,
Yeah.
but now I can look back at it and laugh because I realized I was just being a shithead kid, and I was bucking against authority, and I shouldn't have been. I should have just. My life could have been a lot easier.
Well, some of it, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, you don't have to go along with everything that, yeah, but you are against absolutely everything.
Yeah, everything. Well, I was quite. I was quite angry at Mom and Dad because I didn't want to move back to Chilliwack the last time we moved back.
Right.
I was furious.
That could be a big factor, sure. Yeah.
I was livid with them for uprooting me again. Like Dad was like, "What?" Dad, we talked about it afterward.
From Victoria to Chilliwack.
Yeah, we talked about it afterward, and he was like, "I thought you hated living on the island." I'm like, "I loved it. I loved living on the island. I never wanted to leave. I was happy as I had all my friends there. I had gotten away from the shitheads in Chilliwack who always used to pick on me, and all the bullshit that I had to deal with."
I found for me the schools in Victoria compared to Chilliwack the schools in Victoria were just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the teachers were awesome, the whole environment. Like I think I was like one of those like, you know, grade 3 like trying as hard as I can to get the T correctly and do my writing and everything. I remember having contests for all this stuff and being really like, you know, the teachers like would come over to our house for barbecues and like it was just like a really good community.
Yeah.
And then my first year in Chilliwack, like I think I got beat up the first month.
Oh, it was fucking horrible
And
here.
the teachers just called it in. They just said whatever was on the piece of paper, and then they
Yeah.
would just leave the room, and it was over. Like it was like
The only time that I found any difference for me, the only saving grace that I had was my grade 12 or my grade 10, 11, 12 art teacher, Mr. Kaufman. He was the only teacher, him and Miss Richardson, Miss Richardson was my graphics arts teacher, and a lot of people hated her, but she liked me because I was good at art. And I actually, like, I thrived in the environment that she was trying to put together. And same with Mr. Kaufman. Like, by the end of grade 10, Mr. Kaufman was letting me be a teacher's aide. Like he'd give me the keys to go get art supplies. Like he liked what I did, so he tried to. He understood that I had troubles, and like he heard a lot about the bullshit that I was causing at home and stuff. Like he knew a lot. Like he was like my counselor. He was a lot of he was an ex-hippie, and he was just an awesome teacher. And a lot of people didn't like him. They made fun of him and stuff. But I actually got to know him like on a personal level. And like he was a good, like he didn't even rat me out when I came to class on acid. Like, and it was that, and I didn't even realize, because I didn't know, like it was the only time I'd ever done acid. I'd never done LSD before in my life. And our cousin Dan was big into doing LSD. And I said, okay, well, fine, I'll try it. And he's like, okay, I'll only give you half. Well, what I found out was he didn't give me half. He laughed about it after I took it. He goes like, oh, I gave you double what you should have taken your first time. I'm like, oh, man. So I walked into class and he knew there was something wrong with me. He looked at me and he goes, are you all right? And I was just seeing shit, tripping out. And I'm like, I just don't feel so well today. And he's like, that's fine. You can hang out in class here, because we were doing some other assignment outside. He's like, no, you just hang out here. You'll be all right. But he knew. He knew. But then again, we also knew about him too, because we busted him and the photography teacher going and smoking pot at lunch. And they come back just ripped every day.
This is Chilliwack.
This is Chilliwack.
Pinnacle of education.
Hey, you loved LSD and mushrooms? I liked LSD, but I liked it too much. And as far as acid or as mushrooms went, never had a good trip. Ever had a good trip.
I guess all my trips were fine because mine were all normal. I didn't take notes.
Yeah. I took a little too much LSD after high school. It became the major party.
Never tried it, but I had a buddy in high school who I didn't know him until afterwards, but
I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah. Apparently he took something, and I guess it was in about grade 9 or something like that, or 8 or 9,
and he
just tried it.
Yeah.
And then it was like bad or something. And like apparently a certain number of people have this reaction, where then he was high all the time.
Yeah.
Like it never came down. So he was always tripping for all of high school, and I got to know him while he was all tripping. And like we would have like an assembly or something, and then he would just like start playing his guitar, and he would walk out in front of everybody and just start playing his guitar. They'd have to like, hey, come over here, and like bring him to the side and stuff, and yeah, he basically lost his mind. And it just slowly, over about a 10-year period or something like that, it just all kind of dissipated, and I guess that's how long it takes for it to run through your system. And
well, for him, yeah.
And and then he's just totally fine after, and he was totally fine before. He was like an athlete, he was like a student and everything. And it did create some problems because everyone thought he was just using all the time.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I'm not using it. He said, well, it's not possible.
Well, and then I remember too, there was also the stigma that came with him too. He got, a lot of people would fuck with him too because of his situation. A lot of people gave him a lot of grief. I remember he got picked on a lot, and people would give, some people, not everybody.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But even
took
his
advantage
family
of his
and stuff. Like they, you think about like, yeah, you think things between Dad and you were rough, but if he thought you were just doing crack every day,
yeah,
you would have been on the street. And that's what happened to him. They, parents kicked him out and everything like that. And he wasn't even with it enough to even, he wasn't able to even defend himself because he just couldn't understand what was happening. But he went on to being a chiropractor. He's got kids now. He's been married for a long time.
Yep.
Like he's a doctor, so Pretty incredible.
That first trip that I did on LSD, I remember I totally blanked on what that day was. But apparently, I had forgotten until my girlfriend reminded me. She goes, "You do realize today there's a school assembly, right?" And I'm like, "Oh God." And the guy's name was Norman Kuntz. He was a motivational speaker with cerebral palsy.
Ooh, nice.
Honestly, when he finally did come, I was straight because it was like a few weeks later he finally got there. But I'm sitting there on that day when my girlfriend Sherry told me, she's like, "You like about this assembly?" Reminded me about this assembly. I'm thinking, I went into panic mode. I'm high as a fuck on acid. I'm gonna go watch a guy who has cerebral palsy do a motivational speech to students, and I'm going to be surrounded by people, and I didn't want to be around anybody because I was so high. I'm like, I'm going to laugh at this guy, and I'm going to look like the complete fool at the assembly. Like, there's no way I can go. And I remember sitting there, my girlfriend, and I started shaking, and she was holding my hand. She's like, "You're going to be okay. It'll be fine." And I remember looking down. I was in the graphics art class, and I remember looking down at my leg, and I saw this little red spider crawling around on my leg. And I'm like, "I got to get it." She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "The thing on my leg." And she's like, "There's nothing on your leg." I'm like, "I got to get it. I got to get it. I got to get it. I got to get it." And I reached down, and it was a little thread off of my sock. So I reached down and I grabbed this thing, and as I pull it, like to get it and squish it and kill it, I pull it, and it just, my leg, the elastic of the sock
Oh,
got
you knocking down the stuff upstairs, Sam?
Yeah, they're ready.
I get 2 for each one. Do you have that perk?
I don't know, but you go ahead and finish the rest of it.
You can do it if you have the perk.
I don't know if I have the perk, so I'm not gonna.
Sorry, I don't mean to
It's okay.
bust your chops.
Don't do that, but
So,
no, honey, I didn't take no offense to it whatsoever.
Okay.
Because we gotta have our stuff. So yeah, if you can get more, then I say go for it.
Okay, cool.
so as I pulled on that string and it tightened up on my leg, I panicked and thought the spider was biting me. And I slammed my legs into the table. The teacher starts looking at me funny. My girlfriend's trying to stop me. And then I pull this string up, and now I've got a piece of red string in my hand, and it's tripping me out. So I start playing with it because it's making tracers and doing weird things in front of my eyes as I'm waving it around. And she's like, "Oh my God, we got to get you out of here." And then to top it all off, the announcement comes over the PA. And I'm tripping because it's like, I'm hearing the principal talking, and he's talking about how it was instant relief when he said the words that the assembly will be canceled today. And I'm like, "Oh, thank God." But then he started going into detail as to why. And then I started thinking about this poor guy. Apparently there was a huge windstorm, and he was stuck on a ferry that was stuck in the middle of the ocean. in between Victoria and the mainland, and he was stuck in the middle of the ocean in this high windstorm, and his ferry couldn't dock. So, and like, it was bad, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is horrible." And I remember when we were walking down the hallway after, my girlfriend looks at me, she goes, "Where are we going?" I said, "Well, I'm going to the assembly." And she's like, "There's no assembly." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot." She's like, "Okay, well, it'll all be fine. We'll just go home now." And I'm like, "Well, I forgot my stuff in the art room." So on my way to the art room, I'm with my cousin Dan, and we're walking along, and this guy that I went to school with named Shane, he's a big guy. He probably a good 290 pounds, and he was a black belt in Taekwondo. And he's like, "Dude, whatever you do, don't look at his feet." I'm like, "What?" Well, I'd forgotten that I got a couple friends who were in this Taekwondo class. They had somebody broke into the Taekwondo class and stole all of their running shoes. So they all had to wear their Taekwondo shoes to class. And like their Taekwondo shoes, if you know what Taekwondo shoes look like, they look almost like runners, except all they are is just like these really tight fitting, like almost like slippers.
Dancing shoes.
They look like dancing shoes. So Dan tells me not to look at his feet. So what's the first thing I fucking do? I look down at his feet and I start laughing. Well, Shane just grabbed me and threw me against the locker, and he's like, "What's so fucking funny?" And I'm like, "Your shoes." And that was it. He's like, "What?" And I'm like, and Dan was like, "He's just really high right now. Just leave him alone." So I almost got beat up while I was on acid my first time too. Not a good night. Or it was a good time. I still remember laughed my ass off. Apparently I made an ass of myself at dinner at my Uncle Bruce's. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't believe it.
I guess I was sitting talking. I was eating.
Hey, sorry. Should we do some quests or something today? Just sitting in the base here. I'm not sure what.
I've only got about 20 more minutes where I can actually play right now. So.
Oh, okay. Sam, do you want to go loot a building or something?
Let's go
Sure.
loot. Let's go loot something.
Yeah. Yeah, we can keep talking, but I'm just gonna run out of.
I've already run out of things to do. I've been just
Wait a
rolling
minute.
around.
Wait a minute. Don't wait. Hold up.
Are you? How much stuff do you have on you?
She's crouching, I think. It looked like you're crouching.
I probably was.
Because you were really slow. So where are we going
I
here?
have enough. We
I
can
don't
go
know.
loot.
Just something nearby, maybe that we haven't done. That's
All right.
do some speed looting.
Yeah, we did. We all got old. That's the truth.
Oh yeah.
But I've never smoked pot. Never done any drugs.
I
You
know,
know,
Sam. You all
hardly
you
I know. I'm just a good little old girl. What can I tell you?
you're good. You're good. That's not a bad thing.
I could have said that up until about a year ago. I tried some of those marijuana gummy bears.
And
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like having a few beers.
Yeah.
Or like
is that all?
Like 6 beers. Yeah.
well, you
And
know, if I
actually,
wanted
it just made me super tired, and then I just went to bed. So it was kind of
I
pointless.
see.
But
I
Well,
remember.
if I were to do something like that, it'd probably send me over the moon.
I remember.
Ooh, bookcases.
Remember when we went to my dad's house for Christmas that one year, and our stepmom had done a bunch of baking. With the stuff that I had gotten her.
Sam. She whispers shit as she trains a green zombie onto me. You said it so quietly.
Well, you want all the zombie kills, so I thought I'm just gonna let him have it.
I remember she gave me some of those cookies to take home.
Those pot cookies.
Yeah, and I remember she was telling the story. And I remember that year she was. I remember her daughter was quite upset with her because she was eating them so much. Like she was walking around the kitchen nibbling on them as she was like making Christmas dinner, and our Megan gave me quite the stare down for giving Mom the stuff, but I remember she was laughing about how Dad came home from work and she'd baked up a bunch of the cookies, and the first batch she kind of burnt a little bit, so she left them on a plate. And Dad came home and saw this plate of cookies. He thought, okay, great, I can go sit on the computer and I can play eat some cookies. And I guess he ate a few of them. And then she came into the room and was like, oh, you like the cookies? And he's like, yeah, they're pretty good. And she's like, yeah, those are pot cookies. And he wasn't too happy about it. But apparently they sat up and watched like Netflix for hours and laughed and goofed off and had a good time anyway. And I didn't know, I thought, okay, they can't be that good if Dad ate a whole bunch of these cookies. Like, can't be that great. And she gave them to me, and I'm like, I'll just take them home with me, and I'll eat them at home. And I ate one of the cookies, and I was like, it wasn't that great. Like, I don't really feel anything. And I'm like, well, if it didn't do anything with me, I'm going to eat the other one. She gave me 2. So I started eating the second one, and I finished it. And then about 15 minutes later, something like that, I'm just in tears, laughing at shit on TV. And I'm like, okay, there's some corn if you want to pick it, Sean. You get more than I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I started thinking, I'm like, well, God, I must be a little bit more high than I thought I was. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, well, if this is what it did to me, having 2 cookies, Dad must have been out of his fucking gourd.
That's weird, man. It honestly, it made me more tired than anything else. I didn't. It wasn't really that enjoyable at all. Actually.
Well, it depends on the type you get and who you're with.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Like if you're by yourself. Like, I was by myself, but I just get stoned and watch movies on a regular. So for me, at that time in my life, like, I was like Chronic the Hedgehog. I smoked a lot of weed, and so getting stoned wasn't a really big deal to me. But I know Dad, his tolerance level was, he did it when he was younger, but it wasn't like it was a common thing for him anymore. And there should be some activity on this roof. So for him, it probably got him right fucked up.
Oh, totally.
And that must have been why he was giggling so much.
Oh, probably. It does make you laugh. It can, anyway. Depending on your... It also depends, again, what type of pot you actually get. Certain weeds do different things, right? Which you wouldn't think that, it's one plant, but each plant could be a different strain.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
Like, I used to actually hallucinate when I first started smoking pot. It was really bad for me. Then my tolerance levels got up there, and now it doesn't do the same as it used to me. Or used to me. Now if I smoke it, I just get, more often than not, I get tired and I want to go have a nap, or I want to go eat and have a nap. That's usually...
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
For me, that's where I'm at now. Unless I'm doing something fun. Then, that'll change things. Well, that was a quick little looter.
Stuff.
Got
Yeah.
a few books. And all of them I hadn't read, so that's kind of nice.
Oops, that's metal. Don't want to hit that. Ooh. Uh-oh, did you stand up on that stuff?
Me? Yeah. I'm wearing my
You
armor.
didn't get sick? What armor?
The armor that I made for all of us, it's in the bench.
Oh, well, of course I didn't get mine.
I don't
I
think
didn't
Sean
get mine
got
either.
his either.
Yeah.
And so far, I have taken no damage to my armor.
Ah! God, Jaxel! When will that ever get old?
Never.
Yeah, we might be past. We might be past.
Sean's past it. I'm
I'm
not.
past it. I'm past
not.
it.
You want to do the
Hi,
pharmaceutical
Scott
building?
Foster.
Sure.
Hey, Scott Foster. How you doing, buddy? All right. Let's find some victims. Eat it. What are you laughing at, Sam? What kind of problems are you causing right now?
I am not causing any kind of problems.
Green zombie.
No, I am just trying to
Oh, here we go.
stay safe.
Oh, so you're using us as human shields? Is that what you're doing
Yes,
now?
yes, exactly.
Human shields, is it?
Yep.
Okay. Lots of steroids. I already had 10 on me, but another 3 more. Ooh, what's down here? Ooh, ammo pile. Oh,
Is
he
anybody
exploded.
downstairs?
Me.
Okay.
Sounds like we got company.
Is it upstairs or downstairs? Because
It's
I'm
upstairs.
okay.
How the fuck?
What?
Attention.
Did they fuck my armor up now? No way.
What?
I got radiation sickness. My armor's already toast.
Disappeared
What?
already?
One hit from a freaking spider zombie. Destroyed it.
Wow. Destroyed the whole armor?
Well, just the foot piece, and then once you don't have a full set, you don't have protection anymore.
Wow. That cost a lot of stuff to
Yeah, that
not
was
work.
almost not
We're
worth
gonna
it.
have to figure that out. Well, we're gonna have to figure out why it was only 80.
I wonder if it has something to do with your like your heavy armor or your armor ability.
Crafting level or whatever?
Yeah. Okay, so don't step on it. Nope. Okay, don't step on it. Get rid of it. Or maybe not, because there's a whole bunch there. Holy shit.
What are you doing, Sam?
Oh, is she causing trouble again?
No, she's in a fountain and she's just trying to get on top of a little pyramid. Just can't do it.
Hey, I
Finally
did
got
it. I did.
Giggling to herself.
Take a screenshot so I can see it.
Okay.
Done.
Well, you gotta find your fun when you can get it, you know.
Yeah, and apparently any way you can get it too.
Oh,
Nope, nothing down in that fountain.
I'm gonna grab these flowers.
Yeah, that really sucked on my armor, so I'm taking it off.
It's crazy. Does it all have 80 durability every piece, or
That was
just
my
the
boots with my 120. Like 2 hits from that guy, and that was it. Gone.
Weird about that. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'll have to do some I'm Googling.
I think that deserves some.
Sean, you get up there and let me take a picture of you.
Yeah, look how crazy this is. I don't know if anyone's ever done this in this game.
Oh, you did it first time! Woo! Good going. All right. Take a screenshot, I'm telling you. Hey, don't waste your bullets. We got a horde coming up next time.
Oh, hey, speaking of, Sean, here you go.
Don't hand him anything that's going to blow it up.
No, I just dropped him some more crossbow bolts.
Oh.
Yeah, I only have like 200. I'll never be able to use all.
Shit, I hear something going boom.
Immediately tried to blow it up.
After I asked him, he
See
made
what
a
he's saying?
leak.
She's just
Look.
a shithead. He's a little shithead, always causing trouble. Hey,
made
it's a
a
nice
leak.
fountain. Hey,
He
why
made
don't I blow it up?
He made a leak. I asked you not to do that.
Yeah, it's leaking.
I'm gonna beat you. That's what I just said. It was leaking.
Who did that?
You did. Get out of my way. Trying to make it not leak.
Why?
Drink all of it?
I don't know.
Does anyone need the first aid bandage schematic?
Uh,
I have an extra one. Here it is.
Let me
you gonna
see if
blow
I've
me
read
up
it.
for it.
No.
I've read it, Sean. Do you want to see if you've read it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got this for
No.
you. I know you want this, Sean. Here you go.
Be careful what he's gonna drop to you.
Yeah.
Getting-
Seeds.
Need that one seed. Oh, I've got something for Samantha Jane, too.
Uh-oh.
I know how much you love these. Oh, where is it?
Ah!
Here you go.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Just being a meanie.
Me? No. Oh, don't like my... I give you presents?
Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need one feather.
Sam, I cleaned it.
What?
I cleaned it up.
Thank you.
Look.
He's gonna blow it up again. Make him stop, Sean. Oh my God, he's damaging it.
It's the apocalypse. Nothing's pretty anymore. Even the Mona Lisa's broken. And that
Well-
water isn't cleaned up.
My thing is gonna stay. Oh crud! I just ruined
It's still
it.
leaking out. It's leaking everywhere. Even the Mona Lisa's falling apart. It's a zoo. Bloop bloop. Yes, John Nickel.
You better hurry up and get in your car, or I'm gonna get in it and drive it off.
Alrighty, folks, on that note, I am going to wrap up the live stream. So thank you all for watching. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, smack the taste out of that like button for me, why don't you? And kick the balls right off that notification bell. Kick it so hard, you kick it all. You're going to get notified, folks. It's just the way that works. Oh, we got friends. Oh, we got friends.
Oh, we gotta get out and kill these. Sean, come.
Okay.
Oh crap!
Roaming horde.
You plan this every time.
No, I did not plan nothing, but I'm glad
Oh
to
yes,
have it.
you did.
2 for 1. Alrighty, folks. So,
No, they want to watch us kill these
I know
zombies.
they do, and they'll see it. But thank you all for watching. I look forward to chatting with you all again real soon, folks. So until the next one, thanks for watching. Peace out. And happy hunting.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow for the horde.